Do you think rapists should be able to vote, so let's say, on policies about sexual assault in the community?
I don't know.
You don't have an opinion on that.
Not really, no.
What is going on? We're back in downtown Kent, seeing if people agree with Bernie Sanders when he suggested that terrorists and rapists should be able to vote from prison.
I think the right to vote is inherent to our democracy. Yes, even for terrible people.
Do you support convicted rapists voting from prison?
It's a tough question. I don't think so, but no, actually, I believe if people have been reformed, and it depends on the severity of the crime, but I do think that convicted felons should be able to have their voting rights restored as they are citizens of the United States.
What about specifically rapists and terrorists?
I feel like that's a leading question.
I'm asking because there is a presidential candidate who supports exactly those two things.
And who would that be?
Who do you think it is?
I haven't the faintest idea.
Bernie Sanders.
Oh, you're not gonna hate on my boy Bernie.
I'm not. He's hating on.
No. Oh, do not.
Why are you walking away after your boy Bernie wants rapists and terrorists to vote? Do you support convicted rapists voting from prison?
No comment. No comment. I don't know.
You won't denounce rapists voting from prison? What about terrorists?
Honestly, I'm pretty fried right now. I can't be thinking about all this and that. My brain departments and my brain compartments don't work together right now.
Should you be voting? What about in your country?
Well, we don't vote. We don't have democracy.
Where are you from?
Saudi Arabia.
Oh, I heard that you guys were very tolerant, though.
Tolerant about what?
Just rights for everybody. That's what I've been told. The mainstream media is telling me. Is that not true?
No, it's true. It's true. I think they should be able to vote. I mean, everybody has the right to say something.
So you think that rapists and terrorists should be able to vote?
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
Because what he has committed, I guess, is not relevant to voting, I guess.
Do you support convicted rapists and terrorists for voting in prison? Do you think they should have the right to vote from prison?
I'm not very educated on that subject, so I should not talk about it.
Not either. So rapists who rape people, should they be able to vote from prison? That's it.
I need to do my research
About what?
about the topic before I make an opinion on it.
What kind of things would you research about that to make an opinion?
I don't know. I've never looked into that subject.
If you could guess a politician that would be pushing for convicted rapists and terrorists to be able to vote from prison, who do you think it would be?
Not sure. I don't really watch politics a lot.
NATO, maybe?
That's a good guess, but it's Bernie Sanders. Does that surprise you guys at all?
Not really.
I have no
He's very
opinion on
liberal,
this.
so- He's very liberal, so it doesn't really surprise me.
I don't think you know where like their moral compass is mostly. So it'd be pretty hard to determine if they can actually like see an issue as an impartial observer or if they have to be involved with it.
If you guys had to guess which politician was proposing to allow such an idea, who would you say it is?
Donald Trump.
Probably Donald Trump, would be my guess.
What if I told you it was Bernie Sanders?
That's kind of surprising. That's surprising.
Really? Do you follow much of anything that...
Yeah, I've actually donated to his campaign before. So.
How does that make you feel, like he wants to allow terrorists and rapists to vote?
A little bit skeptical because I've always been skeptical of like socialism, but you never know how it's going to go. So I'd like to do more research on it though.
I think we know how socialism goes, though.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'm not completely against it, but I do see faults in it. I'm not advocating for socialism, but there are parts of it I do like for a democratic society.
Wait a second. Isn't this capitalism? Talking about people who are in prison that have been convicted, who are serving sentences for the crime of raping or terrorizing a terrorist. Those people, should they be able to have a voting booth in prison?
Already, do you know, like, if anybody's in prison, are they allowed to vote for president? Like,
I'm talking about specifically.
I know, but I'm trying to get some like perspective on the situation.
It's really just simple. Should terrorists and rapists be able to vote from prison?
Then I can't give you a confirmed answer.
Why? What are you having trouble with?
I just want to know more about the topic first.
So rapists rape people. Terrorists commit terrorism. Should they be able to vote from their prison cell after they've been convicted, charged, it's proven that they've done it? I don't know where else I should go with this. Do you think they should be able to vote from prison?
It's a tough one.
It is. I'll think about it.
If you had to guess which politician was proposing to allow rapists and terrorists to vote from prison, who would you think it is?
I'm not sure because I don't know politics, but maybe our president? I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry.
The Democratic Party is proposing that.
Oh, well, they shouldn't be.
Does it surprise you?
Yes.
Do you think convicted rapists should be able to vote from prison?
I don't know. I think it's trivial.
How is that trivial?
Well, I mean, it's a hard argument to, at the end of the day, like small decisions like that I don't think really affect whether or not the community you live in is like filled with good people or bad people. Bad people can be capable of good things and vice versa.
Do you think rapists should be able to vote, so let's say, on policies about sexual assault in the community?
I don't know.
You don't have an opinion on that.
Not really, no.
What is going on? You think rapists should be able to vote?
Rapists should be allowed to vote from prison, yeah.
What about the Me Too movement?
What about the Me Too movement?
Do you think it's kind of troubling that he could vote, a rapist could vote based on...
Because I believe in radical democracy. I think everyone should be represented in the government.
Do you think rapists should be able to vote on policies about sexual assault that affects their community?
I think everyone should be allowed to vote for federal elections. I don't think criminals should be able to vote for statewide laws.
Rapists.
Also, that's not how elections
Rapists.
typically work. Rapists don't. People in prison wouldn't get the option to vote for a local community because they're not part of that community. They're on federal land or statewide land.
Should they be able to vote in general?
Everyone should be able to vote.
Rapists and
I've
terrorists.
said this a million times. I really hardcore.
Convince me why I should support that.
Why shouldn't they be able to vote? Why should?
Because they rape someone, they probably aren't making good choices to run this country.
And so, because they made bad choices, they should have like their rights as citizens.
They raped someone.
Right, and I'm not defending that at all. But at the same time, if they're a United States citizen, they should probably be allowed to vote.
I feel as though everyone in America who is a citizen should be able to have the right to vote. But at the same time, I feel like there are certain lines that we don't cross. I don't think it's my right to say whether or not someone gets to vote, but
It's more of your right to say they shouldn't be able to vote than it is their right to vote. You have freedom of speech is literally written in the Bill of Rights. His right to vote is stripped away when he rapes someone. Do you agree?
I don't think I do agree with that, simply because a person's freedom is given to them by the country. No one should have the right to take or give freedom away from another person.
Do you think convicted rapists should be able to vote from prison?
To vote from prison? On what matters?
Voting for the president, for primaries, anything. Do you think they should be able to vote from prison?
That's a tough one.
All right, well, what about terrorists, convicted terrorists that have committed a terrorist attack in this country? Should they be able to vote from prison?
No.
Why not?
Because something like a terrorist attack or something they did to this country, I think that is so disrespectful and so wrong that why would we give them a say when they don't even support our country in the first place? They're out to get our country.
So what's the difference between allowing a rapist to vote but not a terrorist? Why is the rapist any better?
No. I said I have not thought about that. I'm not going to give you an answer to that one.
Okay. So do you think rapists are better than terrorists?
I'm not answering that.
If you could guess one politician that is supporting the idea of allowing convicted terrorists and rapists to vote, who would you think it is?
I'll give you a whole list. Half of the ones that are now running on the Democratic side for president. And probably
You're right.
Omar first.
Yeah, well, I don't know if she does, but Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders.
Like I said, half of them.
Do you think?
Throw in Cory Booker, throw in Queer Pete, okay? Throw in Pete Buttigieg or whoever the hell he is, okay? The only one I'm not sure about maybe is Biden.
Do you think rapists should be able to have the right to bear arms?
I don't think anyone should have the right to bear arms.
But they have a rapist has the right to vote, but no one has
There's
the
a
right to bear
difference.
arms.
You have the right to bear arms. You also have the right to potentially kill someone. If you have the right to vote, you have the right to, I don't know, elect someone that's progressive and willing to change policies to create a better country. Unlike what you support, obviously, because you don't.
What do
care
I
about,
support?
like, dead children or.
What does that have to do with anything I'm
You
talking
literally
about?
just brought up the Second Amendment.
Yeah. Second Amendment says I have the right to defend myself.
The Second Amendment, up until 2010, was not defined by the United States Supreme Court as being in support of individual ownership of guns. It was in 2010 that ruling was overruled by the Supreme Court previously multiple times.
So do you think our right to own a firearm or own any type of weapons
I don't
to
think
be able?
anyone
Well, hold
should
on.
have the inherent right to own a firearm.
It's a good thing you don't run this country and your opinions
I
are very
don't. I'm
popular.
also a dual citizen, so I have a much larger perspective than you probably.
That's why you support rapists voting from prison.
That's why I support universal suffrage. That's what that means, universal suffrage.
Well, you don't support my right to defend myself from rapists. It makes sense. You want them to vote in my country.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that no one
You don't
should
support
have,
my
no
right
one
to
should
have a firearm.
No one should have the right to own something that can kill another person.
That could kill somebody. Please give it to me.
How is this going to kill you right now? Right now, how is this going to kill you?
How's
Because
my
if I
gun
pull
going
out
to
a
kill
gun, I
you
can
right
just
now?
shoot.
Okay, if there was one politician that supported that, who do you think it would be?
I don't know.
Bernie Sanders. Does that surprise you?
That does, because he seems like he's for, you know what I mean?
Right, he's a pretty good guy, yeah. Who are
Well,
you
he
for?
supports socialism. That's not very good.
Oh. Oh, but he's a good guy, right? Or is what you support what makes you who you are?
I would say so.
Okay.
You know how many people have died under socialism?
No.
Over 150 million. Do you think that they should be able to have the right to keep and bear arms then? Convicted rapists and terrorists, should they have the right to keep and bear arms?
No.
So you were very quick to say no about the right to keep and bear arms, but not so quick to say voting. Why the hesitation on one but not the other?
Because there's a difference between pulling the trigger on a gun and pulling the trigger on a voting booth.
Is there anyone that you're like, he probably supports that or she probably supports that?
Not really. I'm kind of hoping there isn't one, but I don't know.
So Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris both support exactly what I just said. Does that surprise you?
Actually, yeah, quite a bit. Yeah.
Do you think that convicted rapists should be able to vote from prison?
I'm sorry,
You guys won't denounce rapists voting from prison? Why do you support that? I guess if it's your day off, you can't denounce rapists voting to take away your rights.